Nuwaupian Nation. Yeah, I got the master student of the master teacher right here, Brother Elder Green and Brother Hotep right here. Yeah. Now, you guys are back, and I really appreciate you coming on so we can go a little bit further.
Thank you for having us.
Now, I got to ask the fundamental question, because the last time you were here, I announced you as the Nuwaubian Nation with a B. Now, on the return trip, is Nuwaupian with a P. Can you please explain that fundamental change and why so?
Sure. First of all, I'd like to thank Playa T and Chuck B in Hollywood, in the hood, for having us and showing us love and salutations. The Nuwaupian Nation, we are going through what you call a transition. Okay, we've been through different covenants over the years. Our master teacher has been teaching for over 50 years. Okay, so in a certain covenant, we was known as the Nuwaubians with a B. Okay, so now that we're out of that covenant and into right knowledge, you can interchange the B and the P within our names. Okay, so you wasn't wrong. Okay. It's just that it was lesser updated version that you gave us. Exactly.
Does that P stand for something?
No. It's just the way you pronounce Nuwaupu, because you can pronounce Nuwaupu with a B or a P. We're just pronouncing it with a P now. Okay. That's all. We're interchanging. Okay. People say they this, people say that, and they're Nuwaupians, but you got a lot of stragglers, people that's not keeping up with the growth of the nation. Right. That's basically what it is.
Now, Brother Hotep, I think you got some questions that you wanted to ask your brother.
Well, we have a set type of dialogue we want to inform the public with, and a lot of people don't know what questions to really ask. Right. But then they do have the best questions, because when you ask a question, it's going right into your memory because you asked it. Right. So you got your answer. Right. Okay, but then there's a lot of people that are void of knowing how to ask a question. Because we was locked in a mental sleep. So when we waking up, we like, where am I at? Who am I? Okay. There's questions that are emitting outside of you that you are letting loose, and you see that there's an illusion took place, right. a dream state, a spell. So when you coming out of that spell state, there's certain things that when you hear somebody else talk and ask that question, what's going to happen is genetic explosion of your memory that's been dimmed down is going to explode. Certain things are going to explode. Just like you have deja vu. Yeah. Deja vu represents a part of your life that you haven't tapped into, but then until it comes to you, then you realize I did that before, or I was there before. So now we're going to squeeze that gap and mold that together.
Well, let me ask you a question, because you brought up something. You said the master teacher was teaching for over 50 years, and he changed covenants a couple times. Well, that's funny you said that, because I was talking to Moore earlier today, asked me who was going to be on the show, and I told him you guys. And he told me how, from his own understanding, was that Dr. Malachi York had indeed switched different covenants. He said he studied the 5% nation. He spoke on that, said something about the Jewish community, and then the Moors. Can you speak to that, what that was all about?
Sure. Dr. York, he is what you call, he's not a religious man. So he said, don't put him up under a religious specter. Okay. He's our master teacher.
Yes, sir.
Okay. For the past 50 years, he took us through all the information or the religious organizations that was out here. Your main three monotheistic religion, your Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. Okay. The first school, he said he's going to take us through these schools. So the first school was the Islam Ansarullah community, okay, where we practiced Islam in its entirety. Okay, we prayed 5 to 7 times a day. We made salat. We followed the tenets of Islam. Okay, yeah. And then as Ansarullah community, he was known as Sayyid Isa Hadi al-Mahdi. Okay, and we was in that school for about 10 years or so. Okay, then he took us out of that school and we went through the school of Hebrew. We was Nubian Islamic Hebrews. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we went through all those schools. We practiced the different teachings and the knowledge of Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, all the things that the so-called Jewish community is doing, because we are the chosen one, not the so-called Ashkenazim and the Sephardic Jews that they have up in New York and other places. Then we went through what we call Christianity, the Holy Tabernacle Ministries. So this is now 3 schools that he took us through within 30 years. Okay, we was called the Holy Tabernacle Ministries. We did follow the teachings of the real Messiah, who they called Messiah Jesus. Okay, but it's deeper than that. Okay, we didn't study the Caucasoid side of Christianity. We was taught by a Nubian himself and told him about the Nubian side of Christianity. Okay, and then we also went through. We went down to Georgia and we built the Egyptian of the West, and we went through after the HTM. We went through the Moorish science part of our heritage or our tribal knowledge, which was because we was Nuwaupian Moors back then, 97 to 2000. We studied, but a lot of these so-called people saying that they're Moors, they're this and they're that, but you have a prerequisite that you have to entitle yourself to certain titles, okay? To be a Moor, you have to have your own land. You have to have your own language. You have to have your own doctrine, which the Nuwaupian Nation we have. Our language is called Nuwaupu or Nuwaupic or Nuwaupui.
Do you have your own land?
Our land was stolen. That's why we're in the process of receiving our land back. We have a lawsuit against the state of Georgia. Okay. See, what you have to understand with Dr. York being the master teacher, the powers that be, the good old boys down there in Georgia and KKK, they falsified charges on Dr. York. Okay, he's a political prisoner now, okay? And we've been fighting for over 17 years to get our master teacher out of false incarceration. Right. He's basically kidnapped, right. Okay? And what people don't want to know or what they don't want our people to know is that Dr. York is a Liberian diplomat, right. Okay? Even if he would have did these things that he was falsely accused of, with him being a Liberian diplomat, he had diplomatic immunity for them to even touch him. Okay, but with us being in the middle of the heart of Georgia, they didn't acknowledge Dr. York's rights. Okay, and then they falsified. He wasn't even. Matter of fact, the original charges, he wasn't even convicted of those charges. They tried to charge him with child molestation and taking children across state line.
But he never was convicted.
He was not convicted of those charges. Okay, wow. This is what people.
What did he end up being convicted of?
He ended up being convicted of tax evasion and the RICO Act.
Yeah,
and those
that
are false.
Paper, baby, that's what it's all about.
Exactly, and those charges is false because everybody know that the Nuwaupians, we always paid our taxes. If we didn't do nothing else, plus we was a church. We was the Egyptian Church of Christ down there in Georgia, so we was tax exempt, but we still paid taxes to show them that we abide by the laws.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now let me ask you a question real quick, because Hotep, you showed me pictures of buildings. I believe was it in New York, where you had just symbolism all around the building. Mm-hmm. Was it like that in your community?
It was the Egyptian theme park. We was building an Egyptian theme park, and the good old boys saying that Dr. York was waking up people to the right knowledge. Okay. It didn't matter if you was Muslim, Christian, or Jew. We had white people in our organization. We had Jews. We had Moors. We had, you name it. It was whatever. Right now, whatever you was, you could still keep your identity and call yourself what you call the Nuwaupian Muslims, Nuwaupian Christians, Nuwaupian Moors, whatever you call yourself.
Simply means what?
We're the ancient Egyptians. That was prophesied to come back in the last days. Our ancestors is coming back to us through our DNA. We're not talking about no spookism. Yeah. Okay. Every 6,000 years. Okay. If y'all don't remember nothing else that I'm saying today, this shadow. Remember this, every 6,000 years, the earth, okay, ain't nothing spiritual about it. The Mother Earth goes through a transition, okay? She goes through a cleansing, okay? You have a 6,000-year moon cycle, 6,000-year sun cycle, 6,000-year moon cycle, 6,000-year sun cycle, okay? We're just coming out of a 6,000-year moon cycle. Moon cycle is a negative cycle, or what you call the gray area, or the gray era. Okay, we're just coming out of that 6,000-year moon cycle into the first 1,000 year of a sun cycle.
Does that mean things are more illuminated in the sun cycle?
In a sense, it's about frequency and vibration. If you're a spiritual person, okay, the moon cycle is about being physical. all that negative stuff, pornographic, sex, 666. Okay, the sun cycle is about 9 ether, 999. Okay, which is Nubians, black folks' number. Our spiritual number is number 9. Right. Okay, the Caucasoids or the Canaanites, their number is 6. Right. That's why they was in power for 6,000 years. They was in the gray cycle. So now all this negative stuff is happening. You got half of California's on fire, half of California got a drought, half of California, it's flooding. Right. Okay, you got all this earthquakes, tsunamis. Yeah. Wars, rumors of wars. We're living prophecy out of the book of Revelation. And Dr. York is our warner for this day and time.
Well, let me ask you a question. What is he saying to you? What is the mission that he's given you since being behind bars?
He's still writing. Scrolls is still writing. He's still writing scrolls. Affirmation is still coming out.
Information and affirmation.
Affirmation, right. Okay, you got to get the information, use it, and turn it into affirmation. Okay.
Alpha or affirmation?
Affirmation. O-U-T.
Okay.
Affirmation. Just like you have information, you have affirmation.
Okay.
Okay. Excuse my French.
No.
But he's telling us that he's giving us the science of the 9 ether forces so we can embrace these forces and break the spell of ignorance. All ignorance means is to ignore the facts. Right. And you got these different religions, they're ignoring the facts of their religion, of their so-called religion. Right. So with us, we're not a religious organization. We're a fact organization. Right. Okay? So we got these scrolls. Brother Hotep, hold up a couple of them scrolls. We have scrolls called Actual Facts, Master Secrets, and Patarats that we're putting out as a Nuwaupian Nation. Okay? And once you get these scrolls inside of you, it'll have you thinking on the right frequency because it's all about right frequency and vibration.
Brother Elder Green and Brother Hotep. Now, Elder Green, you mentioned something on your last visit about your concept of God is different than what the European has been teaching. Exactly. Can you expound on that?
Sure. Our concept of God, we are the gods and goddesses of this earth. Our ancestors out of Egypt was walking gods and walking deities back in biblical and before biblical time. We are the sons and daughters of these deities, okay? Deity Ma'at, deity Imhotep, Osiris, Isis, Horus, all these beings, these deities were real people, okay? They ate, they slept, they made love, they laughed, they had fun, and we are the descendants of these deities. Okay, so Dr. York teaches us that we are the gods and goddesses, which are the 5 percenters. They have their right. They was on the right track. Okay, when we was created, we didn't worship because we are the ones that was being worshipped. Then the 6 ether forces came. Okay. The great.
Y'all know who that is. They wear badges too.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Y'all know who the 6 ether forces is.
Okay. The great cycle came in. And they flipped all of our knowledge and flipped it upside down and had us worshiping them. Okay. So now we're coming back into the sun cycle, and the gods and goddesses, Dr. York is here to give us back our God-like state. Okay? So that's, God is any person or anything that's in control of any person or anything.
Well, let me ask you a question. These deities that you referred to, the ancestors that we arrived from, are you saying these people were high scientists? They operated in high math and science?
They did. Egypt is the cradle of civilization. Okay. Everything comes out of Egypt. Okay. Your Greeks, your Romans, your Turks, all of them went to Egypt to get our science. Okay, and take it back to the West. Okay, and then when they came into the knowledge, they with us being so kind and compassionate. They flipped that knowledge on us through generation, okay? And then their time came to rule, and then that's when they put us in bondage. Right. Because they was in bondage once upon a time too. Yeah. Okay? And now it's our time again. Dr. York is our warner for this day and time. He's here to give us everything that we need to be gods and goddesses again. He said, give them back their isms. Give them back their Judaism. Give them back their Christism. Give them back their Islamism. Give them back their Hebrewism. Give them back their Confucianism. Give them back their Buddhism. Give them back all their isms and come on over to Yanunism. Okay?
Let me ask you a question. What was Dr. York's, how did he handle, what did he tell you, what did he express to his students when it came to defending yourselves and your land and standing your ground against the sixth ether?
Well, if you're on the right frequency, okay, and you're acknowledging the Natharu, those are our guys, what we call our overseers, the Natharu, or our Salafu, which is our ancestors. Okay. If you acknowledge them, we don't worship them, but we acknowledge our ancestors. Okay, because we're the angels on this side, and there are angels on the other side. So you have to get on such high frequency where you can reach them on a spiritual state and connect with them. Okay, and they will guide you on this side. You follow? And you'll be under what we call a protection or an umbrella. Okay, but you have to learn your language. You have to learn your customs. You have to learn your culture, and you have to learn what we call Nuwaup. You have to learn the science of. So you live for, of, and by each other. Right. Okay, it's not about religion. It's about the science of knowing, the science of self. Okay, but we're not saying that they're not wrong in what they're doing, because that's what they might need to get to where they're trying to get to. You know what I'm saying? So we don't badmouth any religions. Okay. If that's what you need, then that's on you. Just don't bring that dogma or that illiteracy over here. We don't teach our children that stuff.
Don't bring that dogma or illiteracy over here.
Okay, because you're worshiping the slave. If the slave master wasn't Christian, you wouldn't be a Christian. If your slave master wasn't a Muslim, you wouldn't be a Muslim. If your slave master wasn't a Jew, you wouldn't be a Jew.
Well, okay? In your knowledge, what is the best way to position yourself to receive enlightenment, to be on a frequency where you can touch the ancestors?
Seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. Okay, you're supposed to seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. Want to know new things. Not saying that you have to enhance all of it. You may not need that part, but you might want to keep that part. You have to have an open mind. You can't have tunnel vision this day and time. Okay, you got YouTube, you got computers. With the opening of the seventh seal, okay, you just push the button. With the opening of the seventh seal, okay, it's prophesied that all truth is going to be made manifest and all falsehood is going to be destroyed.
That's what it seems like is happening.
And that's what's happening.
Some kind of button was pushed, baby. I'm trying to.
The age of Aquarius.
Well, yes, that's the age of Aquarius, the age of knowing, or the age of spirituality, or the era of self. Okay, we're not being. You have to be a physical being because you're on this side of ether, or this side of helium, okay, and hydrogen, okay, but
meaning a manifestation of those gases,
exactly,
in a physical form.
Exactly, we are conscious beings or spiritual gas living in a solid body or a physical body.
The green light.
Okay, exactly. Okay, so what we have to do now is, because time is running out. By year 2030, if you're not on board, if you're not in the right knowledge, and you're not trying to be a spiritual being or on a higher frequency, you're going to fall to the wayside.
Why 2030, and how do you know?
Because it's part of our doctrine. Dr. York has been teaching us, he's been giving us numbers since 1960. Okay, 1970, if you add 30 years to 1970, that was the opening of the seventh seal. And the evil one was given a 30-year extension. So that takes it up to 2000. Yeah. Okay, so now that we're out of 2000, we're in our days now. Okay, every day that we live from the year 2000 to 2030, the righteous ones are rising, and the negative ones are falling apart. You follow what I'm saying? Look at the government.
Yeah.
Okay, you got congressmen resigning daily because of crazy stuff. These 60th forces are trying to get all the souls that they can before the year 2030. Babylon is falling. Yeah. Okay? Babylon is falling. Babylon the Great, America is falling. Ain't no way they're gonna be able to make America great again. You had your time.
Well, you're not the only one saying that.
Okay.
Minister Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam is saying the
Exactly.
same thing. He's saying America never be great again.
Exactly. You had your chance.
That Donald Trump is
Right.
talking about.
It's our time. It's black man time. It's Nubian time. It's Nuwaubian time. It's long as you're on a positive force and not doing out there robbing, stealing, and killing people, you basically can be saved.
You ever heard of Brand Nubians?
Brand Nubian, yeah. Yeah, I listen to them daily.
So is that some of the Nubians, the Nuwaupians?
Yes, they are of the 5% nation.
Of course.
Dr. York rewrote their lessons, okay, to show you how to math. Yep.
He wrote a lot of music.
Hold on,
Yeah.
you saying besides Clans 13X, you're saying Dr. York?
No, he solidified it, so to speak. He updated it and put it in a book. Okay, because they had little pamphlets. He put it all together and made it into a book. Okay, their problem book, their knowledge book. He rewrote it, put it together. Same thing he did for the Moors with Noble Drew Ali. Okay, all we are is just a succession of prophets and apostles that's been brought from Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, Sheikh Dawood, Deuce Ali, Malcolm X, and Honorable Elijah Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and on over to Dr. York, Clarence 13X, and all the rest of them.
What's the purpose of the pyramids?
Well, originally the pyramids now is a beacon. The pyramids is like a connection from beings from outer space. It was like a border. Okay, Mars has pyramids. Okay, in conjunction with the pyramids here on Earth. Okay, we are not to spook nobody out that's watching this show. We are a product of a scientific experiment over 100.
You say
Us beings, us people here,
on Earth?
the Nubians here on Earth, we are a product of a scientific experiment from beings that's 100,000 years more advanced than we are. Some of y'all do y'all studies may know it as the Anunnaki or the Anunnaki. Okay, we are of those beings, and they use the pyramids for like not trading points, but
Reference points?
reference points like that through interplanetary travel.
So you're saying there's
intergalactic
reference
travel.
points and like portals
Exactly.
to transfer energy?
Exactly.
Okay.
And it used to be storehouse of knowledge also.
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
they were saying they seen images up on Mars, and they were saying it looked like
Exactly.
pyramids. I remember.
Exactly. That means they had pyramids and people's beings' faces on Mars, and that was letting other beings that came into this area know that they was doing an experiment.
Right.
Okay.
So you're saying we were in an experiment. Why do you think they needed to experiment and being, so much?
Well, we was created for a scientific purpose. Originally, we was what you call the Lulu Amalus here on Earth. Okay, you taking me way back. We was the Lulu Amalus that these beings they had a crisis on risk, and they had to come and mine gold. Okay, this is a true story. Okay, the government don't want you to know about it, but seek out a book called the Holy Tablets, and this story is in the Holy Tablets. Okay, and they came here to mine gold, and the gold, they was mining the gold, and the task got too hard for them. Now, these are our gods, okay? These are our relatives, okay, from the stars. That's why they call us star people, okay, because our relatives came from the stars, okay? We have extraterrestrial DNA in us, okay? That's another reason why, not to get off the subject, but this is another reason why Dr. York is here, to raise us to that consciousness.
Right.
Okay, to break that spell of sleep. Right. You have two spells. You have the spell of sleep, and you have the spell of ignorance over us. If you're in the spell of sleep and you haven't woken up now, you can't be waking up because we are so far gone, okay, or so far across the desert. But if you're under the spell of ignorance, that's what these scrolls are going to do, is break that spell of ignorance. Because all you got to do is to break the spell of ignorance is to just stop ignoring the facts, to ignore ignorance, okay? But getting back to the point, these beings came here, and they couldn't toll the work of mining this gold, so they created a being that was already here, took a being that was already here, sped up their evolution. That being was us, the Nubian people, okay? Nubian, beings.
You said this being was already here.
It was creatures already here.
So the Anunnaki didn't create the creatures that were here.
No.
They just help them.
They created us. They used their DNA, okay, and their RNA with some beings that was already here to create us, the new beings, Nubians, new beings.
Okay, yeah.
You follow?
Yeah.
We are the new beings. It's in the
So
etymology.
so are you saying that the beings that were here were of a lesser, they are of a lesser kind?
They was on a lower conscious level.
Lower evolutionary.
Right.
So the caveman, is that what you're talking
But
about?
not the caveman. It was Nubians. It was black folks already here. Okay.
All right.
And they
Thank you.
interjected in the evolution of us. Okay. It's all in this book called the Holy Tablets. Okay. I can't really explain because it's been years,
So
almost
the Holy
20 years.
Tablets is the place where you can find more information on
Okay.
that.
And this you can Google it and read it over the internet.
Now, if somebody wanted to purchase your literature, like the Master Secrets, this book, this pamphlet you have right here, where can they get this information?
Seek out All Eyes on Egypt bookstore in your city and state. We're international. We're all over the United States. All Eyes on Egypt bookstore with an I, not a Y.
Let me ask you a question. How are the people in modern day Egypt receiving all of this?
Modern day Egypt?
Yeah.
Well, that's just it. Your last Nubian president of Egypt was Anwar Sadat. Okay. And after that, they're not the original Egyptians that's over there now.
Okay.
Okay.
How did that switch? Being so powerful of a people, how did that come about?
The 6 ether forces.